your economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Good evening, this is the Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Rotary Club seeks partnership with Morrison Communications Limited. Wike approves relocation of traders in Apple Mechanic. Tinubu approves Inter-Ministerial Committee on Emergency. Domestic equities market extends losses by 49 billion naira. Kenya anti-tax protest death toll hits 13, and comedian MC Taguire joins chairmanship race. Atlanta says 60 million euros for Lookman or no deal. Now the news in detail. Rotary Club of Transamadi is soliciting for media support from Morrison Communications Limited in terms of publicity and campaign in her activities. Rotary Club of Transamadi, led by its president-elect Felicia Obioma Baba, made the call when she led her management team on a familiarization visit to the management of Morrison Communications Limited. She also commended Morrison Communications Limited for doing a good job in shaping the society.
And we're going to continue depending on your establishment to help us to disseminate the information, because we know you are a foremost corporation and you're doing a good job.
Responding, MD and CEO Morrison Communications Limited, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, congratulated the new executives of the Rotary Club of Transamadi and assured them of continuous support.
I want to appreciate the club for remembering that this organization have been partnering with them. Because I told that last year we partnered with you effectively, we are there for you. In fact, the head of programs was one of your judges, because you were one of the judges on the program.
Yes.
Yeah. So we like to say that we participated. Even and what our television covered the events, maybe put ample time, which if you want to evaluate it in commercial time, you want to billions of naira. So that is part of our own, doing our own community service through Rotary.
Called on the club to join in the call for government at all levels to do what is right for the benefits of the citizens.
Every opportunity that we have for the supporting the association.
Progress.
Thank God for that. I also want to commend you in your not too far work we did at the Port Harcourt International Airport. Anytime I come down, I'll see it. Rotary Club of Transamadi. Say, continue to do, keep it up. For us as an organization, we believe in giving back to society. By training, I'm a lawyer. What I do in the media industry, but it's a way of giving back to society. And we are very happy doing it. But we continue to do it until our last breath on earth. And those who are alive will continue from there.
Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Port Harcourt branch, has expressed dissatisfaction with the federal government's neglect of reviewing working conditions for its members. The union reveals that 325 senior lecturers promoted to professorial levels have not received their promotion arrears for 30 to 40 months. Reacting to this, a public affairs analyst, Emmanuel Weke, blamed the University of Port Harcourt salary saga on corrupt administration and bad governance.
bad system. There is no softer word for it. Leadership that is intolerant to the welfare of the people. How can you explain it? You have, if you look at what they call budgets, these budgets that they fly every time, these men in the House of Assembly, National House of Assembly, and all that, how do you narrate the performance of the budget? Because all these things are naturally captured in the budget. You pay people what is due them. And just last week, you had another round of federal allocation, allocated to state, federal government, and all of that. It's so worrisome that these politicians have decided to lead Nigeria the way they are doing. It's frustrating. And if
Delta State has enjoined the state government to deliver credible local government elections in the state next month. A chieftain of the party, Chief Irimi Amami, and other stakeholders made the appeal on Wednesday while distributing T-shirts and other campaign materials to party members in Warri South local government area of the state. He assured the people that the party would coast to victory in Warri South, Warri Southwest, and Warri North if the elections were transparent. Amami further charged members of the party to embark on aggressive campaigns ahead of the July election. The chairman of the party in Warri South local government, Mr. Mario Omi, appealed for a level playing ground, noting that the party won in the local government in the House of Assembly and Delta South senatorial elections conducted last year. He said the APC would win again in the council elections, appealing to the Delta State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct a transparent exercise. Justice Obiora Ogwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja struck out a suit seeking to prohibit Barrister Sio Igadalo from being presented as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for the forthcoming Edo State governorship election. The judge threw out the suit instituted by an aggrieved PDP governorship aspirant Anselm Ojezu on the grounds that the case was premature at the time it was filed on March 6. Delivering judgment in the suit on Wednesday, Justice Ogwatu held that the plaintiff, Anselm Ojezu, failed to explore the mandatory internal mechanism of PDP to ventilate his anger before rushing to court. Justice Ogwatu agreed with lead counsel to Ogodalo, Mr. Akinlolu Kende, a senior advocate of Nigeria, that it was wrong and a breach of PDP mandatory rule on the part of Ojezu to have sidelined the appeal panel of PDP in the resolution of his dispute before filing the case. Ojezu had sued Ogodalo, the PDP and Independent National Electoral Commission, praying for an order cancelling the February 22 primary election that produced Ogodalo as the PDP's gubernatorial candidate. His gross was that the provision of the Electoral Act 2022 and the guidelines of PDP were grossly violated in the conduct of the primary election at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City. Specifically used in the conduct of the indirect primary election, Justice Ogwatu held that since it is mandatory for an aggrieved governorship aspirant to explore internal dispute mechanism resolution before approaching the court of law, Ojezu is bound to comply with the rule like any other aspirant. Edo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency said it arrested 220 suspected drug barons between February and June 2024 in the state. ATN reports that the state commander of the agency, Mr. Kalis Alumona, disclosed this during an event held to mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking in Benin City. He added that the agency secured 18 convictions while the trials of 115 suspects are currently ongoing at the Federal High Court in Benin City. He also disclosed that out of 4 drug barons of the watch list of the agency, 2 have been arrested and prosecuted, while the remaining 2 are being trafficked. Alumina also added that 14 cannabis farms measuring a total of 18.5 hectares and approximately 46,251.433 kg of the substance were destroyed within the period. He explained that as part of the rehabilitation and counseling program of the agency, 154 suspected drug addicts were cancelled, while 8 of them were indoor clients. He, however, listed inadequate functional operational vehicles and unwillingness to volunteer credible information by members of the public as the challenges confronting the agency. Abia Police Command has confirmed that 7 persons died and 5 others were injured in an auto accident which happened at Ukpakiri village near Aba, Abia State along the Kotapene Highway. ATN gathered that Sienna Sport Utility Vehicle SUV operated by Akwa Ibom Integrated Transport had a head-on collision with a tipper lorry loaded with sharp sand, resulting in the death of 7 passengers on board the SUV. The accident equally left 5 persons seriously injured and were immediately rushed to the hospital. Confirming the incident in a statement, the command's PPRO, Maureen Chinaka, said the accident happened at Ukpakiri village along Ikotepene Road in Obingwa local government area and that the scene of the accident had been visited by the police operatives, noting that the corpses have been deposited at the mortuary and those that sustained injuries were rushed to the hospital. Abia State chapter of the People's Democratic Party PDP has charged Governor Alex Oti to name the 90 roads he said he rehabilitated during his 1 year in office. This was contained in a statement signed by the acting publicity secretary of the Abia State PDP, Elder Amma Raham. The party urged Oti to name the 90 roads he rehabilitated in 1 year and to state the costs associated with the road contract. They also asked Oti to show proof that due process and the provisions of the Abia Public Procurement Act were followed in the award of the road contracts. The statement added that Governor Alex Oti had never published the cost of any road except to confirm the information on the Port Harcourt Road Aba project, which was awarded at the whopping cost of 30 billion naira, and that continues to attract public outcry due to its variance with conventional road costs of that nature. Caretaker chairman of the Okum local government area, Victor Loza, has confirmed bandits in possession of 20 million naira residents of Logo, Katina, Ala, and Okum council areas. It was reported that bandits levied 20 million naira monthly tax to be paid by all households in the area. Addressing newsmen, Loza said it is true that armed bandits are taxing the people and are demanding 20 million naira. He disclosed of the areas. Loza further stated that the man has been terrorizing the Logo area for the past 5 years, noting that the government of Governor Hyacinth Alea is working hard to put an end to their activities and that the security operatives are also working hard in that regard. World Human Rights Organization Amnesty International said insecurity had left over 2,600 dead and over 50 rural communities in Benue State have been recorded, a total of 135 attacks in the last year. The organization claimed as it released data on Benue State humanitarian crisis on Wednesday. According to Amnesty, the data was recorded between January 2023 to February 2024, adding that the deaths were mainly women and children. It also said 18 out of the 23 local government areas have been affected by insecurity, leading to displacement of people, some kidnapped and others raped. Over 55 schools have been destroyed by armed attackers, just as over 23 local markets have been attacked and destroyed. The organization also noted that over 80% of farming population in Agatu, Guma and Jer West have been displaced, with no access to their farmlands or any means of livelihood. Police operatives in Bauchi State have arrested a 34-year-old Glory Samuel for allegedly withdrawing about 120 million naira from the bank account of his businessman neighbor. ATN learned that Samuel's victim had shared a market space with the suspect where they spent about 15 years together selling different items. Spokesperson of Bauchi Police Command SP Ahmed Wakil in the statement on Wednesday said the arrest followed a complaint lodged by the business person to the police over the suspicious and unauthorized withdrawal of 2.68 million naira on the account on April 1, 2024. Samuel allegedly exploited his neighbor's trust by deceitfully borrowing his phone and installed finance apps which enabled him to transfer the funds to different bank accounts on various occasions. Police said items recovered from Samuel include 8 tricycles, 35 million naira in cash, 2 uncompleted buildings, 60 bags of cooking charcoal, 30 bags of fertilizer, 2 motorcycles and 2 industrial sewing machines. While trying to evade questioning from his uncle and girlfriend about the sudden change in his lifestyle, Samuel assured them that he was earning money through an online business when they inquired about his new income. On completion of its investigation, the police said the suspect will face legal charges in court. Kaduna State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has appealed to Governor Obasani to, without any delay, announce a date for council elections. The party emphasized that appointing transition committee chairman to administer the councils was not in line with Nigeria's constitution. According to the party state chairman, Felix Hassan, PDP are about to ready for the local government elections as there is no room for caretakers in the constitution of Nigeria. He called on the APC government to set up and announce a program for elections. In addition, the PDP demanded that the electoral body in the state should demonstrate its independence from the ruling All Progressives Congress APC during the council polls across the 23 local government areas. Former Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, Wednesday dragged the Kaduna State House of Assembly to court over his indictment by the House Committee in its probe report. Malam El-Rufai, who filed a fundamental rights suit at the Federal High Court in Kaduna against the Kaduna State House of Assembly, said the House Committee did not give him a fair hearing. The suit challenging the House Committee reports, which alleged that the former governor was involved in money laundering and other financial infractions during his tenure as governor of Kaduna State, was filed by El-Rufai's lawyer, Abdul Hakim Mustafa San. ATN recalls that El-Rufai's administration was indicted to the tune of 423 billion naira on March 30, 2024. Governor Obasani revealed during a town hall meeting that the state faced a substantial debt burden of $587 million, 85 billion naira, and 115 contractual liabilities inherited from the previous administration. Sani had said that the debt burden led to over 70% of the state's allocation being used to service the inherited debt. Following this, the Kaduna State House of Assembly formed an ad hoc committee to investigate the state's financial transactions from May 29, 2015 to May 29, 2023. Tragedy struck in Ribang village, Kaura local government area of Kaduna Tuesday after 6 teenagers drowned in the Mamb River. ATN learned that the incident happened while the teenagers were returning from a junior WAEC exam at about 5:30 p.m. The victims were identified as Manasseh Monday, 16 years, Musa John, 16 years, Pius David, 15 years, Monday Ayuba, 16 years, David Danlami, 19 years, and Yahuza Audu, 16 years. They were students of Government Secondary School for Dan Chawai, writing the West African Junior School examination. The National Public Relations Officer of Rebank Development Association, Pastor Simon Ishaku, who confirmed the incident to ATN via telephone on Wednesday, disclosed that 3 dead bodies have been already recovered and buried amidst tears. He explained that as of now, there were still 3 missing as locals have not been able to recover them out of the river. Minister of Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike has approved the relocation of traders and others in Apple Mechanic Village in Abuja to Wasa. This was made known to journalists by the coordinator of Abuja Municipal Management Council, Felix Obwa. According to him, the AMCC has conducted plans and will commence the relocation of mechanics and traders operating on road corridors and buffer zones to Wasa by next month. Obwa explains that the move brings resolution to the over 15 years of conflict that has plagued the Apple Mechanic Village, adding that the new location in the Wasa community will be a permanent solution. ATN understands that the Apple Mechanic Village has been reportedly plagued by overcrowding affecting over 1,000 traders and environmental concerns, which has led to others to vacate the area. The development resulted in demand for traders and mechanics to provide their NIN amid conflict between over 50 unions, which have now been consolidated into 4. Owa emphasized that the enumeration process will be thorough, requiring traders and mechanics to provide their NIN to prevent double registration. He also clarifies that allocations will be made to individuals, not unions, but union cooperation is necessary to facilitate the process. Niger State Ministry of Mineral Resources has embarked on a crucial mission to investigate and shut down several illegal mining sites in Minna, Niger State. A press statement issued by the information officer of the ministry, Ms. DBA Morin, made the disclosure on Wednesday in Minna, adding that the operation commenced on the same day, June 26, 2024. The team was led by the Permanent Secretary Alhaji Yunusa Mohammed Nahani, and in conjunction with ministry officials, some directors, a senior special assistant to the commissioner, and police operatives from State Command of Nigeria Police. They were joined by personnel from Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and the state's forest hunters to ensure comprehensive approach. The statement added that during the visit, various locations were thoroughly inspected, including the premises of a private university, El Amin University, Brighter Schools Road, T. Mama area of Mandela Road, Chanchaga Bridge, and the Federal Government College Staff School. It stated further that all of those areas were suspected of engaging in unauthorized mining activities by some suspected artisanal miners, emphasizing that as a result, a significant number of women, men, and even children were taken into custody. Maureen, however, noted that considering the vulnerability of the women, especially those who were nursing mothers or the elderly, a compassionate decision was made to promptly release them. On the other hand, the 7 men who were apprehended have been handed over to the police and transferred to police custody, awaiting further legal actions. Internally displaced people in Niger State have cried out over lack of food and medical have therefore called on the government to salvage the situation. ATN investigations revealed that the IDPs, numbering over 42,000, are being camped in educational institutions and religious places of worship in Shiroro, Munya, and Rafi local government areas of the state. The IDPs, mostly women and children, were displaced from their ancestral homes as a result of banditry and terrorist attacks, which led to the killing of several men in the communities. The investigations revealed that apart from the shortage of food items and medicaments, the IDPs also complained of the congestion, with not less than 80 of them being accommodated in one classroom. Already, cases of malnutrition are being reported in camps, with 50 children from the Zumba IDP camp reported to be undergoing treatment for lack of adequate food. The Shiroro local government IDP desk officer and coordinator Malam Yusuf Bala Kota, who confirmed this development, decried what he called the inadequate foodstuffs in the camps, leading to hunger and starvation. Though Bala Kota said some governmental organizations, including the Nigerian Red Cross and wife of the state governor, have donated food items and drugs to the camp in recent times, but the huge population has made the donations grossly inadequate. ATN gathered that the IDPs had also had planned a protest before the last Eid al-Kabir festival, but their plan leaked to the security agencies and was therefore thwarted by the police. The State Commissioner of Humanitarian Affairs, Alhaji Baba Suleiman Yumu, when contacted by ATN, confirms that there were over 42,000 IDPs and 75 communities in various camps in the state. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has directed the setting up of an inter-ministerial committee to oversee the Cholera Emergency Operations Center being operated by the National Center for Disease Control. Briefing correspondence after the meeting of the country at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, Minister of Health and Social Welfare Mohammed Ali has said that the committee comprises representatives from the Federal Ministry of Health, Finance, Water Resources, Environment, Youth, Aviation and Education. According to him, state governments are to ensure that Nigeria makes progress in reducing open defecation. He also disclosed that at the moment, 31 states have recorded 1,528 cases in Nigeria with deaths. He also emphasized the need for a multi-sectoral approach to tackle the outbreak and ensure that it's contained. He added that resources were deployed to 21 states to help them respond to cholera, improve awareness of the population, hand washing, hygiene, sanitation, in addition to treatment with drugs, intravenous fluids. Vice President Kashim Shettima said that President Bola Tinubu is not working against the interests of northern Nigeria. Shettima made this statement on Wednesday in Kano while receiving a federal government's delegation led by the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Bajabiamila on a condolence visit over the death of his mother-in-law, Hajia Mariam Abubakar. The Vice President cited the appointment of the two Ministers of Defense, the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chairman of Police Service Commission, amongst others, all from the North, as evidence of the President's commitment to the region's growth. He therefore called on Nigerians to support Tinubu's effort to make Nigeria great, stressing that governance transcends political party affiliations. Shettima emphasized that the country's unity and progress were more important than party differences. He cited the support he received from the Kano state government led by Governor Abba Yusuf of the New Nigeria People's Party during his time of bereavement. Shettima said that the country has moved beyond politics and was now in the act of governance. Emphasizing the need for collective efforts to achieve greatness, he reminded that Nigeria's greatness was a collective responsibility and that political party affiliation should not be a yardstick for division and destruction. The Vice President called on unity and cooperation amongst all political parties, saying that ensuring Nigeria's greatness was a collective responsibility. Federal government said the issue of housing, transport and economic challenges must be addressed to tame the outbreak of cholera in the country. The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali, stated this in an interview on Wednesday. He called for a multi-sectoral approach to forestall the outbreak of the infectious disease, cholera, typhoid fever and tuberculosis. He said the approach should not only be biomedical, which is curative, noting that many diseases are socially determined, hence the right public policies must be put in place to provide social safety for the vulnerable and poor people. He said a technical working group was activated through the Nigeria Center for Disease and Control to support states to reduce the transmission of the infectious disease to treat those who have been affected. He assured Nigerians that the cholera outbreak would be minimized from the spreading to more states and local government areas. Nigerian Army announced on Wednesday that the deployment of 177 personnel from a peacekeeping mission in Guinea-Bissau. The Chief of Operations Nigerian Army, Major General Boniface Sinjan, made the announcement at the graduation ceremony of troops of Nigerian Company 3 ECOWAS Stabilization Support Mission in Guinea-Bissau at Martin Luther International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center, Jaji Sinjan. He says that Guinea-Bissau is grappling with political instability and institutional crisis, which pose a significant threat to peace and stability and development in the sub-region. He, however, said that the Nigerian government, through ECOWAS, stood united with the government and the people of Guinea-Bissau. Sinjan said the graduation reaffirms their unwavering commitment to supporting the government of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau to consolidate its authority. This is in order to address the security challenges, strengthen democratic governance and foster stability in the country. Sinjan urged them to embody the core values of the armed forces of Nigeria, to refrain from any actions that could compromise the mission's objectives or undermine our nation's reputation. Sinjan appreciated Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Taurid Labaja for his unwavering commitment to enhancing the effectiveness of peacekeeping troops through realistic training, which was one of the key pillars of his command philosophy. Nigerian Airspace Management Agency has received approval from President Bola Tinubu to upgrade the surveillance system. Managing Director of NAMA, Engineer Ahmed Farouk, who disclosed this in Abuja while receiving a delegation from Nigerian Air Force NAV, said some critical staff of the agency would visit Spain to inspect the facilities and engage technology solution providers. Farouk also stated that the NAV remained a valuable friend of the agency with regard to the safety and security of the country's airspace. He recalled that the collaboration between the two agencies over time had been critical to the sustenance of the airspace safety and security in Nigeria. His remarks, the leader of the NAF delegation, Air Vice Marshal Abubakar Abdul Kadar, said the NAF had recently enhanced its capabilities to secure the nation's airspace with a new platform designed for national air defense and stationed with the Air Defense Group in Makurdi. Abdul Kader stressed that the NAF had also completed its day training and was close to finishing night training, which would enable rapid response and interception of any intruders in Nigerian airspace. He added that improved collaboration and partnership between NAMA and NAF would sustain the current security and safety in the nation's airspace. Nigeria Center for Disease and Control Prevention has announced an increase in death toll of the spread of cholera across 32 states and 115 local government areas of the Federation. In an update on Wednesday, the Deputy Director of Surveillance of the NCDC and National Incident Manager for the Center, Dr. Muntari Hassan, said a total of 54 deaths and 1,579 suspected cases have been documented since the beginning of the year. ATN recalls that on Monday, the agency announced that as of June 24, 2024, 53 deaths and 1,528 suspected cases of cholera across 31 states and 107 local government areas in Nigeria since the beginning of the year, with a case fatality rate of 3.5%. Nigeria had been placed on high risk for increased cholera transmission and impact due to the rainy season. As the world marks the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has called for more concerted efforts towards preventing drug abuse and guiding those weighed down by the addiction. Obi stressed that the government must seek to save the nation from the menace of drug abuse and illicit trafficking. He suggested that the government should invest in rehabilitating those already caught in the web of drug abuse and stringent punishment meted out to drug traffickers. In a statement issued on Wednesday via a social media handle, he lamented that drugs and substance abuse had contributed to high rates of crime, moral decadence in society, and other associated health hazards. According to him, it was also greatly deepens the productivity of the people, especially the youth population, citing a report by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, which said that about 14.3 million Nigerians aged 15 to 64 years abuse drugs. Obi said more efforts must be channeled into prevention. And analysts have stated that the elites are involved in the business of drug trafficking abuse, and following the NDLEA's concern over the increasing rate of drug trafficking and abuse among elites. Speaking on Atlantic Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Samuel Davis, expressed his view on the development.
The drugs would help them deal with issues, and of course it's also a business. So the people who are selling the drugs are marketing their product. And that's why the angel is having problem. Now, given the pressure, societal pressures that we have, a lot of people are beginning to be attracted to that fake freedom, fake liberty that drug tends to offer. And also with the marketing strategy, people who are selling the drugs are going everywhere.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, a civil society organization, CSO Hope Behind Bars Africa, on Wednesday opposed inclusion in the proposed $4 million in May 2024. The data indicates a surge of 90% from April to May, reaching $365.4 million and 163% from January to May, indicating a robust growth in foreign currency inflows, a positive development for the economy amid rising debt and efforts to diversify revenue sources. This increase is reflected of efforts by the CBN to enhance foreign currency remittance flows through normal channels. In response to the challenges hindering remittance flows, the CBN recently approved in principle 14 new international money transfer operators. This initiative aims to streamline processes and eliminate bottlenecks, thereby encouraging more remittances through official channels. This regulatory adjustment was complemented by revised operational guidelines and increased licensing fees for IMTOs, underscoring the CBN's effort to strengthen the sector's operational standards and financial requirements. This current surge is pivotal as Nigeria seeks to stabilize its economy amidst rising external debt obligations. Recent reports indicate that the federal government spent $2.2 billion on debt servicing between January and May 2024, underlying the significance of foreign exchange earnings from remittances. Domestic equities market yesterday continued the downward trend as losses in Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC and 22 other analysts have emphasized on the need to review the taxation rates across the country following President Bola Tinubu's pledge to strengthen the organized private sector and rebuild the country's economy. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network's Blowout, a social-political analyst, Gogo Fubara, stated that the multiple taxation and lack of indigenous manufacturing industries are key factors that have contributed in crippling the nation's economy.
Government came and then they increased the electricity rate bill you're going to pay, so which means you're going to incur more cost operating. and they say they want businesses to thrive.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they are taking more money from you to help on how to survive. Because when the employer pays so much tax, because it's tax now, if you increase tax, it's going to pay more for electricity. And then when you move into what you call band A, electricity tariff is now multiplied by 3. So if this man used to make 100, used to pay a bill of 100,000 naira every month, he's going to pay 300,000 naira. And then on top of that, you've also increased fuel prices. You removed the fuel subsidy, and then you are not, the refineries are not working. Dangote is complaining, everybody's complaining, and so the work, he has to pay, if he's, if he's going to depend on diesel, he cannot even dream it.
Speaking further, Gogo cautions the citizenry on the need to abstain from crime and other unlawful acts, adding that the government may not concentrate as should on providing for persons in correctional facilities, considering the economic state of the nation.
But hasn't provided chairs for school children to go and provide accommodation for criminals. Is that what you expect? You expect a government that has not provided enough bed space for sick people in the hospital. To go and provide food for, convicted criminals. It's not going to work. They have their priorities. You haven't, for those people who haven't offended the society, you haven't taken good care of them. Is it those that have offended society that they're going to take good care of? It's the same thing I'm talking.
Higher yield-seeking investors were on the sidelines at the recent FGN bond auction, which recorded lower subscription for the third consecutive month. The Debt Management Office raised only 297 billion naira through its June FGN bond auction. It auctioned 450 billion naira FGN bonds on Monday, June 24, across 3 tranches, which included a reopened 9-year bond as well as 5-year and 7-year tenures at 150 billion naira each. This fell short of the 378 billion naira sold from the 450 billion naira offered at the previous auction. At the June bond auction, preference was given to the long-dated tenure, that's a new 9-year bond, selling 229.498 billion naira, 50% higher than offered, with over subscription of 229 billion naira at a sharp rate of 21.50%. The stop rates of the 5- and 7-year bonds were 19.64% and 20.19%, higher than 19.29% and 19.74% reported at the last auction. These were marginally less than the stop rate on the 1-year Treasury bill, considered less risky than longer-dated bonds. The stop rate on the bonds is also well below June inflation rate of 33.95%, as price pressures remain prevalent in Nigeria. The current benchmark interest rate stands at 26.25%, a 750 basis point increase from 18.75 at the beginning of the year. The management of the Dangote refinery on Wednesday said the fire incident, which occurred at its $19 billion new oil refinery in Lagos, has been contained. A video in circulation online has shown a billow of smoke from the 650,000 barrels per day facility and a number of workers watching from outside the plant. However, a brief statement from the spokesman of the company, Anthony Chegina, stressed that the incident was a minor one and did not disrupt the company's operations. Now on the international tidbits. Death toll from protests in Kenya had climbed to 13. An official from the main Doctors Association told ATN on Wednesday, after anti-tax hike rallies turned violent and police opened fire at demonstrators who ransacked Parliament. The unprecedented scenes that left parts of the Parliament ablaze and gutted and injured scores of people on Tuesday have shocked Kenyans and prompted President William Ruto's government to deploy the military. The mainly youth-led rallies began mostly peacefully last week, with thousands of demonstrators marching in the capital Nairobi and across the country against the tax increases. But tension flared sharply on Tuesday afternoon as police officers fired live rounds on crowds that later ransacked the parliament complex. Hours later, Defense Minister Adin Bare Duale announced that the government had deployed the army to support the police in tackling the security emergencies in the country. An official at Kenyatta National Hospital in Nairobi said Wednesday that the medics were treating 160 people, some of them with soft tissue injuries, some of them with bullet wounds. A heavy police presence was deployed around the parliament early on Wednesday, according to an ATN reporter. Iranians will file out to cast their vote on Friday, June 28, to elect a new president from a pool of 6 candidates, which included a single reformist aiming to confront the influence of conservatives in the Islamic Republic. A presidential election in Iran had not been due until 2025, but was brought forward after President Ibrahim Raisi died in an helicopter crash last month. As the snap poll comes at a challenging time as Iran grapples with the economic impact of international sanctions amid heightened regional tension over the Gaza war between Israel and Tehran's ally Hamas. The election is also being held just 5 months before a presidential election in the United States, Iran's sworn enemy and Israel's staunch ally. Leading contenders for Iran's second highest ranking office are Conservative Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bagher Ghalibaf, ultra-conservative former nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili, the sole reformist Masoud Pezeshkian, the other conservative Tehran mayor, and incumbent vice president Amir Hossein Ghazizadeh Hashemi, the ultra-conservative head of the Matthias Foundation. Trial of U.S. reporter Ivan Gershkovich, who has been imprisoned in Russia for more than a year for alleged espionage, began on Wednesday. It is a case described as a sham by his supporters, employer, and the U.S. government. The high-profile trial of the correspondent for the Wall Street Journal newspaper is taking place in the city of Yekaterinburg in the Urals. Gershkovich was detained at the end of March 2023 while on a research trip in Yekaterinburg. A spokesman for the Russian Prosecutor General's office said that the investigation had found Gershkovich has collected secret information on behalf of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. Specifically, Russia alleged that the collected information on the production and repair of defense equipment at the Uralvagonzavod factory in Nizhny Tagil, which lies to the north of Yekaterinburg. Many media outlets have called for his release. U.S. President Joe Biden has promised to fight for his freedom. And now on entertainment, renowned comedian Obi Simon, known with his stage name as MC Tagwaye, has declared his candidacy for the chairmanship of the Abuja Municipal Area Council. The announcement was made in Abuja by Director General of Nigeria Youth Political Agenda, Moses Kasa. Kasa highlighted the excitement Simon's candidacy had generated amongst the youth and stakeholders of AMAC, positioning him as a strong contender for the 2025 election. Kasa noted that NYPA, a youth-focused political organization, played a key role in persuading Simon to join the race. As the coordinator of the Obina Campaign Council, Kasai expressed confidence in Simon's potential to secure the party's nomination and ultimately win the chairmanship. He emphasized Simon's dedication to youth empowerment and his vision to establish cottage industries which would transform Abuja's industrial landscape. Born a twin in Katsina State, Obina Simon has gained fame as a skilled mimic of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Despite his Anambra State origins, Simon has mastered the Hausa language and is celebrated for his accurate imitation of the former president's speech patterns, tone and demeanor. Simon's talent has garnered widespread recognition and admiration, with many impressed by his ability to capture Buhari's distinctive style and charisma. Renowned Nigerian contemporary visual artist Zino Orara has passed away at the age of 60. Orara's colleague Gab Awusa disclosed this on his Facebook page on Wednesday. ATN reports that Zino Orara was born in 1964 in Benin, Edo. He graduated from the School of Art and Design, Auchi Polytechnic in 1988 and had been a full-time studio artist since then. Orara had his first independent exhibition, Metamorphosis, at Didi Museum in 1991. Since then, he has had 13 independent exhibitions and over 20 collaboration. His works are exhibited all over Nigeria and overseas, including South Africa, Germany, the United Kingdom, Sweden, Spain, and United States of America. And now in ATN Sports, according to Italian news outlet, current Europa League champion Atlanta will demand around 60 million euros to part ways with Super Eagles striker Demola Lookman in the summer transfer window. ATN learned that three Premier League teams, Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United, are in the frame to snatch the Nigerian. However, the three Premier League clubs, according to reports, are ready to meet Lardy's valuation of the Nigerian, who has resurrected his stuttering career since joining Atlanta from RB Leipzig in August 2022. The 26-year-old could not establish himself as a dependable performer in Premier League during his spell with Everton. The move to RB Leipzig was not successful either. However, the Nigerian international has gone from strength to strength in the last 2 years. Lookman was exceptional in the 2023-2024 season, contributing to 27 goals in 45 appearances across all competitions, finding the back of the net 17 times while providing 10 assists. His stellar performance with Atlanta in Europa League final against German Bundesliga champion Bayer Leverkusen in Dublin, where he bagged a hat-trick and became the first African and Nigerian to do so, alerted several top clubs, including Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United. ATN reports that Chelsea will aim to sign a wide attacker in the summer transfer window due to the inconsistent performances of Raheem Sterling and Mikhailo Mudryk. The Blues wanted to sign Michael Olise but have lost race with Bayern Munich. Lookman has thus emerged as a valuable target for Chelsea. Former Nigerian striker Peter Ejerikon's suitors are avoiding Victor Osimhen like plague because of the attitude and character of the Napoli striker. Commenting on social media posts on Wednesday, Ije, who spent a major part of his career in Scandinavia, said Europe is a small community that takes attitude and character as keys, which he thinks the Nigerian striker doesn't understand. Osimhen has played his last match for Napoli, having made clear his decision to leave Diego Maradona Stadium at the end of last season. Napoli is willing to sell the player, but his million euro release clause has been a major stumbling block to his transfer. The club recently lowered the sum of 85 million euros, with Manchester United reportedly leaping into the fray, but the Red Devils have also backed down, like Premier League rivals Chelsea and Arsenal, and are currently in negotiations with Alvaro Morata. Napoli offered him to Manchester United and was willing to take Mason Greenwood plus some cash. Meanwhile, new Napoli coach Antonio Conte has reportedly told Osimhen he will not be his main striker next season. South Africa will look to get their 2024 COSAFA Cup campaign off to the strong start when they face Mozambique in their Group A opener set for the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium on Wednesday, 26 June. South Africa, five-time COSAFA Cup champions 2002, 2007, 2008, 2016 and 2021, but were beaten in the semi-finals by eventual champion Zambia in last year's edition. They then went on to defeat Malawi on penalties in the third playoff. Bafana, who will be led in this tournament by assistant coach Helman Makhalele, have named a strong squad which features a mix of Premiership regulars and up-and-coming stars, best exemplified by the likes of Jaden Rhodes, Devin Titus and Yanela Butuma. Alexander Usyk has confirmed he will vacate his IBF title just weeks after he became undisputed world heavyweight champion. The Ukrainian 37 became first heavyweight to hold the IBF, WBO, WBA and WBC belts when he beat Tyson Fury in a split decision in Saudi Arabia last month. With Usyk now contracted to a rematch with Britain's Fury, he is not in a position to defend the IBF crown against interim champion and mandatory challenger Daniel Dubois. That means Dubois expected all British fight against Anthony Joshua and Wembley in September could now be for the vacant title. ATN learned that Britain's Lennox Lewis was the last man to unify the major heavyweight belt, 3 at the time, prior to Usyk in 1999. And that's the global news for tonight. But before we go, another look at the major stories. Rotary Club seeks partnership with Morrison Communications. Wike approves relocation of traders in Apple Mechanic. Tinubu approves interim ministerial committee on emergency operations. Domestic equities market extends losses by 49 billion naira. Kenya anti-tax protest death toll hits 13. Comedian MC Tagwaya joins chairmanship race. Atlanta says 60 million euro for Lookman or no deal. I am Enidoye Jackson. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms, on X at Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram at Atlantic TV Network 1. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch